All right, this is for all of you out there that just quit drinking and you've been not using for a while. Have you heard of the pink cloud? Do you know what the pink cloud is? When you first start recovery, you feel amazing, right? I've been there, clear head, energy, hope. You start thinking, I've made it. Well, here's the problem, and I'm going to save you a lot of trouble. You haven't. It's called a pink cloud, and it's one of the most dangerous moments in recovery because it can make you feel like the possibilities are endless, like you've conquered this mountain and the war's over. But the problem is you haven't conquered the mountain. You just got to base camp, and you've done a good job getting there. There's no question, but the climb never stops. I know because I lived it multiple times. When I first got sober, around 4 months in, I felt invincible. Then again in a year, I felt great. And what I didn't realize was that I was just replacing one addiction with another. So it wasn't alcohol anymore, so it became dating apps and women. Then there wasn't that anymore, so I became super obsessed with bodybuilding and my physique and whether or not it was perfect. And it became obsessive, right? Same cycle, different substance. Same man, same cycle running. And this doesn't just apply to alcohol or drugs. This applies to anything you're recovering from. Pornography, toxic relationships, bad eating, gambling, whatever the habits are you use to numb the pain that you have. And when you're in early recovery, you feel better. Like I said, that's real. Your body is in way better condition. It feels better. Your mind is clearer. You're more rational. You're less emotional. None of that's a lie. That's all real. But the sneaky thing about that is that the clarity can make you think you're transformed, when in reality, you've just stopped poisoning yourself. And the transformation hasn't happened yet. You just cleared the fog enough to see the road. And the road is really long. Recovery centers know this. That is why they have outreach programs. That is why they tell you to keep going to AA. And that works because you stay connected. And that's why every good counselor says it doesn't end right here, because they've watched thousands of people hit that, pink cloud feeling and watch them fail because they relapse, because they stopped doing the work once they started feeling good. And that's a trap. That is a trap. Do not hit that point where you start having expectations of your life. People expect they'll be wealthy soon. They'll have a totally different career. Their life's going to be perfect. Their relationship is going to be perfect, or they're going to meet the perfect person, right? They expect their marriage to be fixed because they're sober, and that one's huge, right? You get sober and you think everything should be fixed. Your partner should be grateful that your relationship should be easy now, but the person that you were with has been living with a totally different human being. And now you're new, and they don't trust this version yet. And they shouldn't, because you haven't proven it yet. It took you years to get here, and now it's going to take you years to, change that behavior and really have it stick and make people believe it. And that pink cloud can make you think that you've proven it when you haven't. Time proves it. Consistency proves it. Right? So what do? You recognize the small victories. Today I didn't use. Today I didn't drink. Today I didn't do the thing that causes me damage and shame. Today I'll be present with my family. That's a huge win. Celebrate it, but don't confuse it with a finish line, because there is no finish line. I'm 12 years sober, and I am still climbing the mountain. The mountain doesn't end. You just get better at climbing it. And the view does get better the higher that you go. The moment you sit down and say, that's it, I made it, is the moment that cloud starts to form under your feet. And clouds don't hold weight. So stay in the fight. Realize that your identity is transforming. You are becoming different because you're enduring through these tribulations that used to cause you to use this chemical. And every time you fight one of those battles, you build this unbreakable character, small victory after small victory at a time. And as you build that unbreakable character, you start to feel this hope. And that hope transforms you. But you have to fight. You can't expect that this is going to happen overnight. And not everything's going to be good. Like, there are going to be troubles in life. Just because you got sober doesn't mean now the troubles disappear in your life. It's over. Troubles, no more. Life is not easy. It's not going to be. You're going to have highs. You're going to have lows. And it's when you set your expectations reasonably. Barely have any. That's why when we're in early recovery, they teach you early on that you have to learn to control what you can control and to know the difference between what you can and can't control. That is discernment. That is why people have success in recovery. A lot of addicts try to control their environment. They try to control everything in their life to the point it becomes obsessive, and then they have pain, and they have to numb that pain. And so when you let go of that control, something beautiful happens. You have this serenity when you let go of the control. And serenity is a beautiful thing if you can get to that place where you don't have the expectations. And that's a difficult thing to do for an addict, let's be honest. But what I want for you is to understand that how you do one thing is how you do everything. This is critical for you to know. When I was in early recovery, I had Ruben, who was a house manager that was an ex-Mexican gangbanger. He kicked my bed every single morning to wake me up because I needed it. He made me clean a bathroom 20 times with him standing over me, showing me where I had made a mistake on the faucet handle, and there was streaks of Comet, the cleaner, still on the handle, and I needed to take care of that properly. It's that simple. It really is. It's the simple things. It's how you do one thing is how you do everything. Now, if you can manage to do things right, take your time, slow down. Don't make snap decisions. So many of us in early recovery, we make snap decisions. We're like, I'm in, let's do it. We're impulsive by nature. And that's a good thing because it means you have a lot of, motivation. But motivation is tied to emotion, and emotion always loses because discipline overrides emotion. So you have to build the early disciplines of getting up on time, getting your work done, doing one thing right, doing another thing right until it's complete. Complete these things, right? If you have a plan in place where this is a time that I normally fail, you have to follow that plan, meaning I have people, places, and things that I have to stay away from. That's big in early recovery. The pink cloud that you may end up on might say, well, I can go hang out with that friend again. I'm good. I got this. That friend that drinks, right? That old group that drinks, that bar that I walk past every day. I can go back in there. Or, I can... look at something online that I shouldn't be looking at, and I feel like I'm over this addiction now, and so I can do it one more time. That is literally the enemy talking. That is your brain confusing you, and it's the disease of addiction infiltrating your mind and trying to convince you that you don't have this thing, and it always ends up in the same place. The lack of discipline, it always comes with a payment. There's some bill that's going to come due when you decide to revert back to the old cycle, because the cycle is not going to stop at the behavior level. It stops at the identity level. So it's going to take you time to transform and become that new person. That new identity takes discipline over time for you to actually build into this new character. And that new character can become totally unbreakable. I've seen it many times. People who once fell that were in horrible addictive situations, almost dead, myself included. I was living in recovery early on with a broken neck, 25 staples in my forehead, a felony charge hanging over my head. I was messed up, like rock bottom. Rock bottom has a basement. I was in the basement, and I'm telling you, I was looking at the furnishings of my worst decisions ever, all there, staring me in the face. Just know that's going to happen. And when you do, and you recognize I'm at rock bottom, if you are out there, the only place to go is up. You're going to be okay, right? It's a win. Every day is a small victory. Every day you don't use, every day you don't have an issue, or you're able to control your anger, whatever it may be. So identity is where it changes. It's discipline that is the root there, because the endurance through these tribulations is going to build that character, and that character doesn't put you to shame, right? It builds hope. So continue on the path, but know that you're going to have to tell yourself from time to time that I need to have discernment. I need to know whether or not I should be making this decision right now to do whatever it is you may do that may lead you back down that path that has gotten you to the same place over and over again, because we all know the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Whatever you were doing before, wherever you were hanging out, the people, the places, and the things that you did are not going to work. You have to break that cycle and then build new identity through new discipline. Keeping that away from you is the discipline. That's how you work it. Now, it's going to be lonely in early recovery. It's going to be lonely for a couple years. I was lonely for a couple years. I didn't have all my old friends that I used to hang out with. I couldn't just go to the bar and, party. That wasn't going to be part of it anymore. And you're going to have that as well. But here's the nice thing. The new people that come in are solid. They're not always the best. You can't put your weight in other people. You can't say, I'm going to put all my weight in new friends, making new friends. No, you got to fix you first before you connect with other people, new relationships, things of that nature. Because you're new. You're a brand new creation. And because you're a brand new creation, you're going to have to feel the world again and how it's going to work for you. Because it's different for everyone. Everyone has their own unique experience. Mine was loneliness for a couple of years. I tried dating apps, did not work, not a good idea. Like I said, became an addiction. Bodybuilding, great, do it. Highly recommend working out daily. Just don't let anything become obsession, because it's so easy for us to do that as addicts, as people who are in recovery. We want to just take on the world, and it often feels like that early on in that pink cloud. So be careful of that. I call it a pink cloud. It can be called many names, but it's a false sense of security that you develop over time when you have removed the chemical that was causing you a problem. Because you really are living pure. You're living well. And when you live well, you feel great. But the issue is the disease tries to convince you that you're all better and that you're going to be okay, and you can go back to the old life now, and you won't have the same problems. That's the unfortunate thing about addiction. It makes us feel like we got this covered, and that's the trick. That's the enemy's trick right there. I just realized my collar was flipped up for most of the video. Hopefully that didn't throw you off. I've posted it anyway, as you can see. If you got something out of this, please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, give me a comment. Tell me what you're going through. I want to hear it. If you are really down, check out my book, The Comeback Blueprint. You will like this book if you are in recovery, have been through recovery. It is a raw, transformational story of how I was in Hollywood, how I flipped a car 6 times in addiction, broke my neck, died, came back for 3 minutes, and transformed my life. I wrote it like a movie. It's very entertaining. I appreciate you watching. Have a great day.
Unfiltered with Matt Farnsworth.